Afternoon, everybody. It's 57 to be precise. Do you have your tea towel or a band? Do you have a clear space, a seated, oh, it's over that shoulder, and some external support? That's what you need for this move, and yourself, of course. So it's middle of the day time, 12 noon, time to get a bit of movement crowbarred in, and that's regardless to whether you've had a busy, active, standing morning, or whether you've had something of the other end of the scale, a sitting, not moving much, slower start to the day perhaps. There's a bit of something here for everybody. So the lid, there be the lid. A bit of twisting, screwing and turning action-y maybe. Just come back from a spin class and a quick cup of coffee with me pal. Just had a quick shower, a quick fringe dry, but the rest of the hair's still a bit wet. I thought that'll do for me today. Willow, I'm picking Willow up from school straight after the movement snack, and we're going to see our sports therapist kind of guy. I tweaked my knee again not yesterday, last week. You may or may not have noticed. I try not to grumble too much, but every now and again it's a good thing to go and get the body, all of those things. Eek. And Willow's going to have the same as well, because we did the football tournament at the weekend and she was like, oh, my knee, oh, my hip, my this, my that. So I was like, right, we're going to get her sorted as well. So we're going to see Mr. B, Mr. Brian, and he will, I'm sure, realign, stretch, forward / little bit painfulness too, to the edges he'll take us to, as he sorts us out. Afternoon Maddie, afternoon Vivian and Paul. Hope you're all feeling good and well, and hope we can get you moving a bit weller as we enter today's selection of moves for the noon. And here it is. Hang on. There we go. Hang on, 3, 2, 1. There was super quick 3, 2, 1 there. Welcome, 12 noon. You know who I am. I can see who you are coming on live. If you're here on a catch up though, drop us a message. We like to see who's coming in, who's joining, who's on the inside periphery and outer edges of our movement snack gang. Here comes Gillian and Chris. Right, shall we? It is. What's the date today? Is it the 11th? It's Thursday, the 11th of July. Right. Stand or sit, you choose. Flip between the two, or stay, or stick with one or the other. Let's have a think about posture first. Well, not just a think and then a do. A think and then a bit of action and tweaking of posture. Legs long, feet underneath you, not too wide apart, but with a gap. Lifting tall, high in the chest area, back in the shoulder area. Bit of activity in the upper back area. Bit of activity in the core. Lengthening through, pedaling the legs. And in seated, have a bit of a hip walk forwards if you're not there already. Find your way, lifting and shifting, stepping through to the front portion of your chair, and do everything the same as is standing. So pedaling the legs, a little lift of the knee into a leg march. Not too high a lift of your actual foot off the floor. It's a flowing, rhythmical, coordinated action. Try and get some right side and left side symmetricalness going on, and then start to bring in some arm swings. Let's get the top half into it as well. That can be one arm, both arms, with a bit of use of external support if you so need to. That's a light hand held position, fingertip touch on your external support, which might be to the side or might be in front of you, wherever you find it better. Now, if you are having both hands on external support, try not to hunker over it. Try and use it to lift you up, extend the posture, and try and walk as lightly as you can. Sometimes we can get a bit stompy and a bit flat-footed and a bit heavy with our walking and our stepping action. But here's where we can really focus on those things, get more out of the ankles, feet and toes, and more out of everything, because we're just thinking about it a bit more. Feeling a bit warmer, looser in the shoulders, hips have been on the go, and knees and ankles, feet and toes. Little flush of warmth there and a bit of deeper breathing. Right, I thought we could do some swingy action, balance challengey, hip loosening, one leg standing kind of stuff. You'll need a bit of space, so see if you can organise yourself so you've got enough room behind you for a bit of a hip extending leg swing. Let's just do that now actually. Let's try and put the hips into an extended position, because a lot of the time the hips are bent. And so stand tall there. Just shift your weight onto what will be your standing leg and just draw the toe back, point the toe behind you and feel the hip open. I've just got a bit of cramp in my foot there, must have pointed a bit too strongly. And then stand tall again, shift onto the other side and just put it into an opened position there. Try and stand tall through the rest of your posture so you're not bending into it, we're standing out of it in that position. Now in seated, we're going to have bent hips, and it can be a bit more difficult to get some extension in the hips. So if you do normally have a sit down, see if you can lie on your bed flat. Not right now, of course, but lie on your bed flat so that it flattens out your hips and you can just have a rest there. Or for today, we can try and just hip hop round and then try and draw one leg back there. So you can get some opening in the hip there and then draw it back through and just do a couple on each side there before you then take a bit of hip walk manoeuvring, side step, shifting. Get yourself a bit further back into your chair so that you do feel secure there on the seat, and then try and draw the foot back, drop the knee down, the thigh opens the hip there. You might feel a bit of lengthening into the hip area and into the front of your leg there too. And then draw out of it, sit tall and reset, and then go back into it. Can you see my heels up off the floor? The toes are bent. It's similar to the lunge position that we end up being in, is that seated, my bum's on the chair and the hips opening out in that front area. And then standing, yeah, pointing back to the big toe, sliding out slightly on an angle, a little bit of a reset in between, just a moment or two hold there. And there we've got a little starter for your hips there. Now, we're going to be standing on one leg whilst letting the active leg swing out from the hip. I'm just going to move this out the way, so I'm not going to clip myself on it. So you might want to start in that preparation for a one leg stand position. External support there so you don't get an unexpected balance challenge. You may well get a balance challenge as we get into this. With the standing hip, think about squeezing into the buttocks so the hip feels secure and we're not kind of sagging, sitting into it. And we've got the toe just resting down there. We can come there, that's your finish and your start position. And then you've got a little brush through, scuffing the foot past the floor. Can you see there, my knees end up being level, my body straight. You'll feel this through the standing side of your body as it secures your hip and knee in place. There's a bit of work for the underneath leg there, and if you're holding on quite securely and you're not getting a balance challenge from it, you might want to lighten your support so that you do start to experience a bit of adjustment, wobble, a bit of a balance challenge there for you. Now, in seated, we're going to do a coordinated opposite arm to leg lift. So sit tall, feel secure here, perching, sitting high onto the hip bones, and you can take an opposite arm to leg lift. Now that could just be a heel lift. Can you see down under there? You might want to start with that. You might want to just reach more in front than upwards, see how your shoulder feels. Or you might want to try and lift the toes off the floor as you lift your arm up. You could do that with double arms. It will make your centre work a little bit harder. You could do that with a heel raise. There's a few different options for you. See how your hips feel. See how your arms and shoulders feel. As you've done a few, you might find that that's loosened up a little bit and you may be able to reach that bit higher. But notice whether you're sinking or leaning back. Sometimes lifting the knee up, we get a bit of hinging back, but try and stay as upright as you can and as still in your trunk area as you can, moving through that. And hopefully in the meantime of us doing this in seated, the stander-uppers have you changed sides, not slides. So your hips, feeling that a little bit in the standing leg, in the manoeuvring, swinging leg, your balance getting a bit of challenge. Ooh, there's a little extra squeeze of the buttocks too. I think everything's aching me a little bit too quick today because of what I've done this morning. Bit of space behind you and use your support to increase the challenge or more steady the challenge that you're in. Quite a lot going on with that movement. We need, of course, to lift our legs up quite high when we're stepping up and over stuff or onto a higher ledge. It might be a double step height. It might be some crooked steps like I know Mrs. Perry's got, where in the steps up to your house, there's some quite big steps there. So there you go for that. Right, take a pause, have a slump and a switch off if you'd prefer, and we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so here we go with a few heel raises then. Getting into the calf muscles. I'm not quite sure if I need this today, but because they did just threaten to cramp a moment ago. Yeah, there they go again. Squeezing the calves as you lift and controlling that lowering phase to come down, soft landing with the heels. So take the weight forwards, you go upwards as high as you can with the heels off the ground and slowly come back down. Now, if you're holding on, you should feel steady and stable. If you lighten your support, you may go into a bit of a balance challenge with this. Have a think about what you want. Do you want to just focus on the strength element in the calf? So lifting, holding, squeezing, and then slowly lowering? Or do you want to have a bit of both in there? So all of that I just said, but with a little bit of a challenge for your balance at the top end, where you loosen or lighten or let go of your support. Seated. Quite a good calf strengthener if you've got a load on your lap. This could be a small version of a grandchild that you might have that sits on your knee. You could put in a few calf raises there. It might be a heavy shopping bag that you might have on your lap when you're driving in the car. Well, you won't be driving, of course. Or it could be your own body weight leaning in now. Elbows onto thighs, pushing down as the feet push up. Slowly go back down. Pushing, holding, squeezing, and slowly going back down. Get the feet working too. Strengthen the feet around the toes, around the ankles, and into the calf muscles for walking, standing, pushing up, getting a bit higher, climbing the stairs where you do push through your calf, or that push that you make if you're driving yourself. I don't mean driving, walking up a slope or a hill. Lifting and lowering. There we go. Okay, so we've got a little bit of calf in there. If in standing, you want to have a go at something like this. A single calf raise could be done just with the other toes down. Just a few on the one side and then swap sides. Or you could try with that foot fully lifted off the floor and maybe a few single leg or one leg stand calf raises. We can do that with one side in seated. So I'm leaning over into this side. This elbow's not on the opposite leg, and we can do, you're in a bit of a side tilt here as well actually. You're in a bit of a side bend. And you've got some single options there for you. Not a balance challenge in seated, of course, but could well be in standing. Right, let's just do one more thing for the upper body. We'll go for a good old favourite, just a quick and easy one that we should all be more than familiar with. Standing or seated, scoop the band or your tea towel, your trusty tea towel. If you've got a band, your thumbs and hands are going to go wider apart before you draw the elbows back. If you've got a band, then have a go at that. Slightly wider than the body, elbows back and squeeze. And if you've got a tea towel with not much stretch to it, then you can bring your little fingers together in the middle, snap it out, get a good firm grip there, elbows back, and have an extra pinch of the shoulder blades. Just have a move around from that. Your elbows are back, yes? Can you squeeze and release? Squeeze and release. Do a couple of 3 of those and then come out of it all together and do the full sequence again. Creating, keeping it in the upper back area. Right, there we go. There's your quick visit. Oh, hello, a few more of you in. Carolyn, Eric, Fleur and Kate. Just seen you, Kate. I managed to have a quick shower look and do my fringe. There we go. Right, got to go and pick Willow up from school now. She's just rang me. She's probably going, where's me mum? She's always late. She should know what I'm doing, doesn't she? Anyway, have a lovely afternoon. Ta for now.